The Trump administration is revamping the rules on what your 401k can invest in, and it's not just stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. They're allowing greater access into private funds, private equity, real estate, and crypto. In today's video, I'm going to break down the updates, the executive orders, and the changes that are being proposed right now for your 401k. I'm Matt Sorensen. Let's build wealth. All right, there's been a lot of news lately about 401ks and quote unquote alternative assets or private assets. Now, most people know your 401k account and you think, oh, I can buy a mutual fund, maybe a target date fund, maybe I can do the self-directed brokerage window and buy an individual stock. 401ks are kind of clunky because you don't have great investment options. Now, many people know self-directed IRAs. That's what we do at our company, Directed IRA. You can use an IRA to already invest in a private asset. That's been around for a long time. But 401ks have been really restrictive on what you can do because of one critical issue, and this is fiduciary liability. When a 401k is set up, there's someone responsible for the 401k, the employer or someone they appoint for the 401k that has fiduciary responsibility for the 401k. Well, the reason a lot of 401k plans make you invest in these super safe, super conservative, super high fee investments like target date funds and mutual funds is because they don't want to get sued. So what's happening right now is the government is starting to provide guidance to say, hey, it's okay. This is within fiduciary rules and your responsibilities to allow people to invest in private assets. They're changing some laws. There's some pending bills I'm going to go over that's going to make it more easy for 401k plans to offer these non-publicly traded assets as investments to invest in with your 401k. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, because they might have greater returns. Private equity has been outperforming the stock market and target date funds and mutual funds that people have been holding for years in their 401k. So a lot of people are asking, well, I want to invest in these other assets. I want to diversify my portfolio that's mostly my 401k. And here's how we're going to be able to do that with private assets. All right, now a couple things have already happened. One, cryptocurrency. The Trump administration issued an executive order rescinding the Biden administration's executive order on cryptocurrency that said fiduciaries must exercise extreme caution and care when letting people invest in crypto with their 401k. Now, these assets are allowed in your 401k, crypto, private companies, real estate. The issue again is this fiduciary liability. So what's happening with that executive order is it's the federal government saying we're rescinding that old order that frankly freaked everyone out that was a fiduciary for 401k plans. So that executive order went out a month or two ago, and that is positive for anyone looking to invest in crypto. Now, you're already able to do this at Fidelity. Fidelity is a provider that's always allowed you to invest in crypto. They have a certain cap or limit around 10 to 20% of how much your 401k could be invested into crypto. Now, at our company, Directed IRA, you can invest a 401k in crypto as well, okay? And directed trust companies. We've been doing these assets for a while, but now this is starting to go mainstream, and I think the tide is starting to shift. Now, I think the bigger update is actually not about crypto. It's about private equity, private funds, and real estate as an asset that you could own in your 401k. Now, at the end of the last Trump administration, Trump issued an executive order saying, hey, your 401k can own these non-publicly traded assets and providing kind of a safe harbor for 401k administrators to get on board with this. However, that was in the last days of the Trump administration. The Department of Labor didn't run with guidance on that. And so what happened is Biden comes into office. Trump didn't win re-election. Biden comes in, and what happens is he kills all those orders and says, don't be doing this, and kind of freaks everyone out on adding these private assets into a 401k. Now Trump's back in office, and he's back on the path right now, and his SEC chair has came out and said, we are starting to look at providing more access to 401ks into private funds, private equity, and real estate. Now, one specific change SEC Chairman Paul Atkins is talking about is removing a 23-year-old rule that says public funds your 401k can invest in can only have up to 15% of private assets. He wants to get rid of that rule or increase the percentage that a public fund can own in private assets. So what you're doing in that scenario is your 401k is investing into a publicly traded fund, but that publicly traded fund could own a lot of private companies or real estate or other private assets. Changing that rule would be a quick resolution to get more options for 401k investors to get access to private assets. Now, there's already a bill to remove this 15% cap entirely. It's gone through the House Financial Services Committee, now going to the full House. There's a lot of momentum also in Congress. It's not just the Trump administration to provide greater access to alternative privately traded assets in your 401k, and I think this trend is going to continue. Now, I want to make sure everybody knows right now, you've always been able to do this in your IRA, and it's very easy to let your IRA invest into real estate, to private funds, to crypto. It's something we do every day at our company, Directed IRA. It just requires a self-directed IRA. Now, there's way more money in IRAs, so this is a much more significant point. There's $9 trillion in 401ks. There's $17 trillion in IRAs. The problem is most people's IRAs are with the broker-dealer. The broker-dealer, even though you can invest your IRA into private assets, doesn't let you because that's not what they do. They sell financial products. When you have an IRA with a broker-dealer, they're going to let you buy broker-dealer products, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. If you want to buy real estate or a private fund or crypto, they don't sell that. So you can't buy that in your IRA there, not because of some legal requirement, simply because your IRA is at the wrong place. So what does it take? It takes a self-directed IRA, and that's what we do at Directed IRA every day. We open accounts so you can transfer your IRA from Fidelity or IRA from TD Ameritrade over to an IRA at Directed IRA. We're a regulated IRA company, just like the other ones you might been at. We're audited. But what we let you do is invest in what you know and believe in. If you want to invest in real estate, you want to invest in a small business, in a private company, in startup, in venture, in crypto, these are assets your IRA can own. We have 20,000 plus accounts and 2.5 billion assets of clients doing just that. Make sure you click the link below to learn more. You can also book a call with our team to explore the options of what your IRA or 401k can invest in. Now, we don't offer investment options. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I just want to let you know that your IRA can invest in these private assets. And we've been doing it for years. I happen to write the #1 book on it. Get over to directedira.com to learn more. We've got webinars, a podcast. I've got a lot of content here on my YouTube channel about how your IRA can invest in these assets. I'm Matt Sorensen. We'll see you next time.